Last one then, woohoo, in this booklet anyway. So the last one is called a compensating error. And what this means is somebody had a really bad day because they've made a few errors, but luckily for them, the errors actually compensated, so the debits and credits still matched. So what we've got here then is we've been told the sales ledger control account was incorrectly debited with 4,100 in respect of a sales transaction. The correct amount of 4,000 was credited to the sales account. So can you see here that the debits and credits don't match? Okay. However, they've also done another transaction that the purchase returns account was incorrectly credited with 1,600 in respect of purchase returns transactions, but the correct amount of 1,500 was debited to the purchase ledger control. So for the second part, the debits and credits don't match either. So what you've got here is somebody who's had a really bad day. They've made two mistakes, but luckily for them, the mistakes have actually balanced out. However, this means that we need to take a little bit more care when we're trying to correct it. So this is what's happened. Sales ledger control account's been debited, sales credited, purchase ledger debited, purchase returns credited. So just to really make it clear, the total of the debits, if you add them two together, is 5,600. And here, the total of the credits is 5,600. So that's why this hasn't caused an imbalance, because overall, the debits do equal the credits. Okay. So, as with all of them, but now I've got 40 accounts, woohoo! First thing we could do is to remove the transactions and then post the correct. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I've underlined in purple the original so you can see what's been done. So let's remove. Okay. And then I'm going to post the correct. So it should have been £4,000, the transaction. So we should have been debiting sales ledger control 4,000, crediting sales 4,000. And the purchase returns one, we should have been doing 1,500. So we should have been debiting the purchase ledger control 1,500, crediting the purchase returns 1,500. And I have wrote that all out there for you. Okay, so that is the double entry that we've just done to remove. That's the double entry that we have done to post the correct. Okay. Then if we were to look at that overall, the sales ledger control account, these two would cancel each other out. So this is ending up with £4,000 on the debit side. Sales account, these two would cancel each other out. So this is going to end up with £4,000 on the credit side. So now if you look, 4,000, 4,000, we're equaling, bang on. Purchase ledger control account, this one and this one would cancel each other out. So we're ending up with 1,500 on the debit side. And this one would cancel each other out. So we're ending up with 1,500 on the credit side. And again, 1,500, 1,500, we've corrected it. Okay. The other way then that we could have looked at this is to actually look at the problem. So if we go back to the narrative, the sales ledger control account was incorrectly debited with 4,100 in respect of a sales transaction. The correct amount of 4,000 was credited to the sales account. So are you happy from that, if I put it down here actually, the sales ledger control account needs to be £100 less because it's been put in at 4,100 and it should be in at 4,000. The purchase returns account was incorrectly credited with 1,600 and it should have been 1,500. So the purchase returns needs to be £100 less. So instead of doing all this removing and posting, we actually could just deal with this £100 adjustment. Okay, so purchase returns needs to be £100 less. So it's currently at 1,600. So if I was to debit it 100, if you were to balance that off now, that would end up with £1,500 on the credit side. So that was debit purchase returns 100. Okay. Purchase ledger control is 1,500, which is what we want, so that's fine. Sales is 4,000, so that's fine. And the sales ledger control account needs to be £100 less. So if I credit it by 100, that would make it £4,000 debit overall, which now we would be happy with. And we have credited the sales ledger control £100. Do our debits and our credits equal in this journal? Yes, they do. And again, I've wrote it out there for you folks so that you can see it as well. Please, please, please redo these questions just to get yourself familiar.